According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American spends about 19 minutes a day reading. But you closed the tab with 10 half-finished videos.
Almost
Put
there.
your phone face down, opened one ugly blank document, and decided you were done pretending that saving content is the same as learning. And here is the strange part. You are not lazy. You are not behind. You are not stupid. You were just trained to confuse motion with progress. Over the next 8 minutes, you will understand how to become the kind of self-educated person people quietly feel uncomfortable around. Not because you act superior, not because you quote books at dinner, but because when a real problem appears, you do not panic and look for someone smarter. You sit down, take it apart, and stay with it until it starts talking back. And if something in you already knows you have been consuming too much and building too little, press the button below like you were closing the door on the old version of you. Not for me, for the person you become when nobody is grading you anymore. But before you build that kind of mind, you need to understand why most people can study for years and still stay easy to manipulate.
You were not always like this. There was a time you were the one who bought the course, highlighted the book, made the perfect playlist. You were the folder person, the note-taking person, the "I'll start properly on Monday" person. You had tabs open like a control room. One about money, one about psychology, one about history, one about writing. At night, you would scroll through smart people explaining smart things, and for a few minutes, you felt upgraded. Then the next morning, someone asked you what you actually thought, and your mind went quiet. That silence is embarrassing because it exposes the truth. You had information near you, but not inside you. And one day, you did not open another video. You opened your own file, and the world did not end. It got quieter. Anders Ericsson, the psychologist best known for studying expert performance, described deliberate practice as focused work with feedback, correction, and discomfort. Simple translation: you do not get dangerous by touching a subject. You get dangerous by letting the subject touch you back. That means real self-education is not a pile of books. It is a workshop, a rough table, a light above your head. One idea in front of you, refusing to become clear until you do the work. So where do most people lose the thread before the real learning even begins?
First, look at the way you read. You finish a chapter, close the book, and immediately feel productive. You tell yourself, "I read today." But actually, you only moved your eyes across someone else's thinking. The test is simple. Can you close the book and explain the idea to a tired friend at a kitchen table without sounding like the author? If not, you did not learn it yet. You borrowed the shape of it. The price is that real understanding feels slow. It makes you look less impressive. While other people post stacks of books they finished, you might spend one evening on 3 pages, drawing boxes, arrows, ugly sentences, and one question that bothers you. That does not look like genius. That looks like work. Second, watch what happens when you choose a field. You start with one subject, then suddenly another looks useful. Then another looks urgent. Then another makes you feel behind. You tell yourself, "I'm becoming well-rounded." But actually, you may be training your brain to leave the room every time things get hard. A dangerous mind has one main table. You can visit other rooms, yes, but one thing gets your best hours. One thing gets your serious questions. One thing gets enough of you that patterns start showing up. The price is boredom. There will be days when your chosen field feels dry, repetitive, even insulting. That is where depth starts. Not when the topic feels exciting, but when it becomes quiet enough for you to notice what beginners miss. Third, look at your notes. Maybe they are clean. Maybe they have colors, headings, screenshots, little summaries. You tell yourself, "I captured the lesson." But actually, you may have made a museum of other people's sentences.
A thinking document is different. It is messy because your mind is messy before it gets strong. You write, "I think this means," then you argue with yourself. Then you realize you were vague. Then you rewrite it so a normal person could understand it. That moment hurts a little because it shows you the gap.
Stop. Before we go further, everything you have heard so far is not a compliment in pretty packaging. These are real adaptations of your mind. If you have spent years feeling confused by school, ignored by experts, or tired of being talked down to, self-education can become your way back into power. But it is not magic. It is repetition when nobody claps. Fourth, apply one idea before you collect 10 more. You read about negotiation, then you still avoid the awkward conversation. You read about fitness, then you still do not plan your meals. You read about writing, then you still do not publish a paragraph. You tell yourself, "I'm preparing," but actually, you may be hiding from proof. Knowledge becomes real when it leaves the page and makes your day slightly harder. You test the idea, you make a prediction, you try the method, you get embarrassed by reality. Then you adjust. The price is that application ruins your fantasy of being secretly brilliant. The world gives feedback without being polite, but that is exactly why it works. Fifth, learn to distrust the rush. You watch one lecture at double speed, then another, and your brain feels full in the same way your stomach feels full after cheap food. You tell yourself, "I'm learning fast," but actually, you may just be getting better at feeling informed. The dangerously self-educated person has strange habits. They pause, they rewind, they walk around the room, they say the idea out loud and hear how weak it sounds. They sit under the lamp with one problem longer than their ego wants. The price is loneliness. Not social loneliness necessarily, intellectual loneliness. Because for a while, you will not have much to show. You will not have a certificate every month. You will not have applause after each breakthrough. You will only have a mind that is slowly becoming harder to fool. But here is where it gets complicated. The same skill that makes you independent can also make you impossible to teach. But here is where it gets complicated. When you start trusting your own mind, you can begin to reject help too quickly. Someone gives you feedback, and you hear control. Someone asks a basic question, and you hear insult. Someone with more experience corrects you, and you think they just don't get it. That is not independence. That is your ego wearing work clothes. The self-educated person has to become strong without becoming closed. You need enough confidence to think alone and enough humility to let reality interrupt you. That is the line. That is the sharp edge. Here is the new definition. Consuming is collecting answers you have not earned. Learning is building questions that can survive contact with reality. This is not only for people who hated school. It is for anyone who has ever felt that their real education started after the official one ended. It is for the person working a normal job with a notebook in their bag, the person reading on lunch breaks, the person who cannot afford another degree but refuses to stay mentally dependent on people with titles. You do not need permission to become serious, but you do need discipline, because without it, self-education becomes just another identity, another aesthetic, another way to feel special while your life stays the same. And here is what nobody tells you. The final proof of your learning is not what you know. It is what your life can no longer tolerate. If you are watching this and wondering if something is wrong with you, hear me. You are not too late. You are not unqualified. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are someone who can build a serious mind with ordinary tools, used seriously. The National Academy's report on how people learn made one point very clear. Experts do not just have more facts. They organize knowledge around deeper structures, and they can use what they know in new situations. Simple version: depth changes the way your mind stores the world. So if your reading got slower but sharper, you are not doing this wrong. If your circle of interests got smaller but more serious, you are not doing this wrong. If you stopped collecting advice and started testing ideas against your actual days, you are not doing this wrong. You are taking your mind back from the feed. There will be no ceremony for this. No teacher will knock on your door and say, "Now you are educated." One day, you will just notice it. Someone will repeat a popular opinion, and you will see the weak joint in it. Someone will try to rush you, and you will not move. A problem will land on your table, and instead of searching for a savior, you will reach for a pen. That is the moment. Guard the table. If this gave you the permission you did not know you needed, press the button below
whose name I will not even say. You know which one. And write one word in the comments. What do you want your mind to become?